Qualifying for Youth Nationals, Lane 1, Everett. Lane 2, Vashon Island. Lane 3, Vashon Island. Lane 4, Oregon Rowing Unlimited. Lane 5, Pocock. And Lane 6, Holy Names. If you're looking at your screen here, we are still sitting at the starting blocks. Just to give you an idea of what the starts look like there as the race kind of makes their way through the first few hundred meters of the course or so. But it's always fun to see these boats take off. Fun fact here, Lane 2, Vashon Island, Etta Chait, again, is a name that we've seen before. She is a novice. So she is a novice, again, rowing in the U16 Cox quad here. The coxswain here also that I mentioned before, the Vashon Island boat that got 5th at Nationals, had the coxswain that is racing in this race. So nice. They will be racing with the women's U16 quad here. So again, coxswains can race in men's or women's races. It does not matter. Which gender races for which team, does not matter at all. So we can switch around whichever team we like. And now that we have everybody on the screen with the drone, let's get you some places here.
Looks like a close race potentially for gold up there. And we're seeing a dynamic right now. I just want to point out the officials' launches. You see that one officials' launch is following the race leaders. That's for safety. And you do want to keep kind of contact with all boats on the field as a ref. Unfortunately, it does kind of churn up the water for the boats behind them. But that's just kind of a fact of life. And we do prioritize the health and safety of all of our athletes. So there was another boat following those 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th place boats. But meanwhile, oh my goodness, look at this race. Holy smokes, folks. We've got some dynamite out there. Some explosive strokes being thrown down between, it looks like, Vashon on the left. And who's that on the right? Is that our friends from Oregon Rowing Unlimited?
Oregon Rowing Unlimited, who actually got 2nd in this event last year. So we want to keep an eye on them, see if they can edge out Vashon Island for a place up in 1st with gold medals around their necks. But we will see, of course, as we say, there's still a lot of the race to go. So anything can happen. Again, it is the teal boats versus the yellow boats.
Beautiful sculling here, though.
Exactly. You got it. Oregon Rowing Unlimited, led by Lucia Karambot, a name that we have also seen before, pardon me. So again, a few athletes that you've seen in other smaller boats, a few doubles. And we have Vashon Island, stroked by Rose Eli. So again, Rose versus Lucia, again, keeping an eye on their counterpart there in lanes 3 and 4. And again, some of this is patience, and some of this is just kind of keeping in the back of your mind who is going to throw that first punch as we come into the last 500, because you have to be patient and actually utilize those little afterburner turbos, as we say, in a finite, very strategic way, because you only have so many of them that you can ask of your body. So you really have to utilize those 10s or those moves or those early sprints very, very carefully. So we will see what is going to happen. My prediction here is Vashon Island, as they've shown us before, is going to throw down quite a sprint to try to overtake Oregon. But we know that Oregon has the fitness and finesse to get these races done as well. So it is quite a showdown. Come down to the beach. If you are not here already, we see quite a crowd and cheer on women.
I don't think we've seen such a close race that has consistently just been back and forth here. Like, there is nothing in it. I can't call either of these crews who's going to win. I can notice some technical differentiations. Oregon Rowing Unlimited rowing just a little bit longer than their Vashon counterparts. Similarly, I think that Vashon just has a dissimilarity in their blade depths. As they bury those blades at each catch, you can tell that each blade is kind of going in at a different depth, whereas Oregon Rowing Unlimited has a little bit more consistency across the blades and how deep they're burying them each time that they get in and out of the water, which is going to lend itself to a little bit more ease of movement when all of the crews are getting, or when all of the rowers in a crew are getting their oars in the same way at the same time. But right now it looks like Oregon Rowing Unlimited is trying to sprint. Vashon just started their sprint. Oh my goodness, Oregon Rowing Unlimited had a bow ball lead for just a half second.
Vashon at a 38.
Okay.
And here we go.
I think Oregon is walking. I think Oregon Rowing Unlimited just started to walk a little bit. Vashon trying to respond, but I think it's too little, too late.
Oregon
got it. Yeah. Wow. What a race.
Oh, and the screams of happiness from that Oregon crew.
That was the tightest race I've seen in a long, long time. You see the hands go up. You see the jubilation. Oh, my goodness. Tears in these eyes, I'm sure, after such a hard race to get that victory over Vashon. That was an incredible race from both those crews.
They all look over at each other and congratulate.
Oh, yeah. I'm seeing thumbs up. I'm
Again,
seeing waves.
the beauty of rowing, such good sportsmanship that we see out here on the water as lane 5, Pocock crosses the finish line, stroked by Ainsley Hebb.
Good job to that crew there. I talked a little bit earlier with some of the Pocock coaches. They're having a great weekend. Said hey to Coach Rob, Coach Hannah, such wonderful people down there at the Pocock Boathouse. Said hey to Coach Magda, and I was coaching with Coach Helen earlier in this weekend about her love for the band ABBA. Good times. We've got another Vashon boat that is coming across the line here. This is the Vashon B boat in this event. Well done them. And we've got Holy Names now just taking it across the line as well. I think that they were probably trying to seek and destroy the Vashon boats in front of them, but they just didn't have enough in the tank. Oh man, definitely some exhaustion in that Holy Names boat. They just all started lying down when they crossed that line. Some signs of life now in the Holy Names boat. I think that they're alive. And we've got our last boat crossing the line here in this race.
Hopefully exhaustion in every boat here. But I do want to point out, too, that this is kind of the time of day that gets a little bit tricky for coxswains as well, especially in that bow loader 4. So if you don't or have not heard your coxswain teammate or son or daughter come home and say it was a little bit tough today, when you get a wind like this, so we're starting to see the breeze, it looks like come down the course, a little bit of a headwind perhaps. I don't have a flag in front of me that I can see to
it is
see
turning
exactly which
like
way it's going.
Crosswind, yeah.
Exactly, but you have a little bit of a headwind, so you are into the elements there. You're going face into the elements. Also, a little bit of glare on the water now, which can make the buoys a little bit tricky to see when you are literally at the horizon line. So, again, just an extra challenge that these coxswains have to think about when it comes to steering straight and being able to see where they are on the course and where other boats are. So a lot of sun in the eyes rowing right now for the coxswains and the bow loaders. So just something to kind of keep note. Little extra obstacle for those coxswains. So don't worry, they don't get off that easily. They also have challenges to deal with there.
Indeed, yeah. It's really interesting. Like the challenges that each rower faces are so unique to them. And obviously the same is true of each boat and each crew and each team and school to a larger extent. So it's just an amazing, amazing metaphor for life. I think that the challenges that you overcome in rowing will teach you how to overcome whatever obstacles arise later in life. I've definitely experienced that to be true. I know a number of coaches and friends and family in the rowing world believe that this is a sport that sharpens you up for whatever may come. So dragging out these metaphors just as long as we can until we can get our next screen share for you of here we go. Our next race is about to be underway, and I believe that this is the B final. It's a 2-boat B final of the women's U16 Coxed 4 event, featuring Sammamish in lane 3 on your left and Pocock in lane 4 on your right. What a delight. Oh my goodness, here we go. Another race in store for you. Official regatta time, 1:11 p.m. Maybe make a wish, maybe don't. Maybe just say hey to the person that is standing next to you. Hey, Whitney, what's up? How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great, thank you.
Fantastic.
Ready for that afternoon espresso. So everybody grab your afternoon espresso for that second wind and run down to the beach because we have a very, very exciting duel happening, which is a very different kind of race. So when you're used to 6 boats across, 7 boats across, when you come to a duel like this, especially as an athlete, as a coxswain, it's a very different kind of race. And so I want to talk a little bit about that once we get going. But you should see some very interesting rowing here. A lot of internal rowing, a lot of keeping your eye out for that one boat that you are hunting and poaching the entire time. So just a little bit different strategy perhaps here. We will see.
So I think what we noticed earlier with the wind that is starting to act like a head cross towards the finish line is actually a tail at the start line that you can see the ripples are sort of facing towards the boats as they go off. There they go. They got away a little bit askew, at least that boat on the right, which I believe is Pocock. I think they had a little bit of trouble getting off straight, but that's fine. They're okay now. And what we're witnessing on the course, I think, is... Yeah, it does look like a slight headwind now. The way that the waves are facing, I think that these are slightly slower conditions than we saw yesterday. So it will create some slightly slower times, a little bit more resistance on that boat. And right now we're seeing Pocock with a clear and present lead over their Sammamish counterparts in this race.
That's right. Pocock here, stroked by Elena Dombrowski. Very well done. Here, they look very relaxed, and as they should, because they are not really being challenged here by Sammamish, stroked by Irene Sue. And we will get an idea, a better idea of where they are in the course here. We are almost 7 minutes and 30 seconds into the course, coming into about 500 to go.
Yep.
So we will keep an eye on that. But again, just looking very long, very cool, very relaxed, very loose in the legs here. Really taking the time to get the legs down, get the bodies out, and bring the hands in together. So again, this coxswain will have to rely on that stroke seat just a little bit to kind of keep an eye on the competition. When you are a coxswain down in the bow like that, you have a very, very small field of vision there. So you cannot see behind you at all. And you really have to rely on your crew to tell you if somebody is charging, or trust that they will start to bring the rate up a little bit and maybe shout at you why, tell you why, maybe down in the shell.
Definitely. Whitney, your insights into the coxswain experience this weekend have been just absolutely invaluable. And such a keen insight, too, on the rowers and what they're experiencing from their coxswains, too, and kind of that dynamic between like myself as just a knuckle-dragging ogre and yourself as like a brilliant tactician on the water. It's almost like the difference between an admiral in naval warfare versus just like a grunt on the cannon that's just packing and loading each little cannon for an explosive stroke. And here we go. They're kind of picking it up as they approach these red buoys. I think Pocock is destined and determined to sprint their faces off, despite having left Sammamish in the rear view a little bit ago. It looks like 5 or 6 lengths of open water between them and Sammamish right now, but they're sprinting nonetheless. I also want to point out their blades right now. These are called bantam blades, and they're a little bit smaller than your regular blades that you're going to see on oars. And bantams are really good for developing rowers and younger rowers. Not as much surface area on the oars, so you're not going to be able to go quite as much, but there's less strain, and they're actually easier oars to feather and square and get in and out of the water. So a great technical tool there for kind of honoring your athletes where they're at in their development. And here they come, the last like 50 meters or so of this race.
Exactly. Rowing at about a 30 here, crossing the line. Definitely want to thank you for your accolades there, calling me an admiral. I suppose I need to be promoted from coxswain to admiral. But very well said there. And we all play our part. You know, the ship doesn't run without all of us. And it looks like they've stopped rowing just slightly short of the finish line there. Got a little bit excited. However, I don't think they were threatened for their first place position there.
Just wanted to start the party early, you know?
Interrupted myself there. Exactly. But no partying, right? Because rowing is very serious.
A very serious sport.
No fun in rowing.
And we've got our Admiral beside us. Admiral?
Yes.
Admirable Admiral. That's a tongue twister if ever there was one.
There you go. Try saying that 3 times fast.
Yeah, the Admiralty would like to be in touch soon about how admirable that.
Looking for a promotion. And here we go. Sammamish, stroked by
Sammamish.
Irene Sue in that stern-loaded quad right there.
Fantabulous. And we've got another race coming your way. We're not going to be able to see this.